Sami Zayn came out for another promo, shitting on the fans. Good as he is at it, I do enjoy these Sami Zayn promos. Mark Henry even said that Sami Zayn, in his opinion, is the best promo in the company right now. He is loving this new Sami Zayn. And I can't find anybody, on the active roster. I mean, Samoa Joe is great, but how often do we get to... it's not like he's coming out every week cutting long promos like Sami is. So I'd put him on the same level with Sami. It's hard to find anybody else who's as good or better than him right now on that main roster. The thing with him, though, is he needs somebody to feud with, because coming out every week on TV and just shitting on the fans is already getting a little long in the tooth, and he needs to actually engage with somebody. I know one person he was supposed to feud with coming out of WrestleMania, Luke Harper. But they changed their mind and left Luke Harper with nothing. The update on Luke Harper in The Observer this week made me, I think, angrier than anything I read or saw this week. And I know it shouldn't. I know it's not my career. I know it's not my situation. It's not my life. But it still made my blood boil when I read this update. Vince McMahon, in writing, told Harper that he was not going to release him from his contract, which, with the added time that they've tacked onto it, the 6 months they've added, is not up until WrestleMania time next year. And that's fine. That's not even the big news. We already knew that, as far as them denying his release request. That's not even what made me so angry. The reason they dropped their plans for him, okay, and the plan was for him to feud with Sami Zayn coming out of WrestleMania. And I'm not sure if Zayn would have been a babyface or if Harper would have been the babyface. I don't know. But the reason they dropped their plans for him is because Vince McMahon says he doesn't get Luke Harper. And he complained of all the things to complain about. He complained that he can't even do a Southern accent. This is apparently a complaint that Vince McMahon originally had 4 years ago. He has still not gotten over this. He mentioned it again to people behind the scenes. He cannot do a Southern accent. I don't get him. Because that's what Vince McMahon thinks all Southerners are. A bunch of hillbilly-looking people with big bushy beards. I don't see Rowan doing a Southern accent. And last I checked, they brought him back to manage the WWE champion. But he doesn't get Luke Harper. Harper was pitching ideas on a regular basis, supposedly, for his character while he was out. He wasn't just sitting on his ass. He was pitching idea after idea, and they turned down every single one of them. This guy is trying to do their job for them. An army of writers can't come up with anything for this guy. He's trying to come up with ideas for himself, and they rejected them all. I would love to know how bad they must have been that they rejected them. He was supposed to start working with Sami the day after WrestleMania, and then he was informed that he was not needed for TV, so that he went home. Then they called him back that Tuesday to come in for a dark match against EC3, which was the night they did the trial run with Drake Maverick in EC3's corner as his manager, a pairing that I have been pitching for them to do since EC3 signed to come back to WWE. For a company that loves its sports entertainment, I was highly sports entertained by the two of those guys together in TNA. That was back when I was watching TNA on a regular basis. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed their act. I thought it could work here too if given the chance. I was encouraged when I saw the news that they had paired them up, even though it was a dark match. I said, well, there's a step in the right direction. This is good. And I was immediately discouraged when I read that Vince watched the match and hated all of the manager spots that they did. So it looks like that pairing is now dead before it even had a chance to begin. Then, the day of the Superstar shakeup, somebody asked, hey, which brand is Luke Harper going to? And Vince said, the guy can't even do a Southern accent. He had a bad match with EC3. So they didn't put him with either brand. And it was then that he asked for his release. He saw the writing on the wall, and he asked for his release. And they denied it. You want a Southern accent? Here's a Southern accent. Fuck you! There's your Southern accent. The man gets hurt. The man heals up. He comes back. He's waiting to get back into the thick of things. Put me in, coach. He's pitching ideas left and right to try to help his cause. He's under the impression I'm going to start back the day after WrestleMania with a brand new program, and then he gets told, don't bother to come to work. Doesn't even get drafted. They don't even think enough of the guy to draft him to one brand or the other. He has to be let go. And not only is he told no, he has 6 months tacked onto his contract for time missed. If you don't think much of this guy, if you think so little of him, why keep him? If you think that lowly of him, he certainly can't be of value to anyone else, why keep him? Because you're scared. That's why. Fear. That's the only reason. You can't come up with an idea for a 6'5" guy that looks like he does. I mean, hell, the comparisons are already there looks-wise. Just make him your own Bruiser Brody. He named his son Brody. I don't know if he named his son after Bruiser, but these comparisons have been out there for years, and I don't know if he's modeled himself after him. He certainly has talked in interviews about how he, grew up having a lot of respect for Bruiser Brody. Make him your own. A wild man. As wild as somebody can be on a PG show. But there you go. There's one idea. But they give up on you. They give up on... One person gives up on you. And once that happens, you're dead. You are dead in the water. 39 years old. And this guy is dead in the water. But we're going to keep you around for another year because we can. Even though I don't get why we even signed you in the first place. But we'll keep you around in case we need you for another dark match. Bray Wyatt tweeted that he's working on trying to get Luke Harper into his Firefly Funhouse. Good luck with that. Their boss belongs in a nut house. That's where he belongs. Why is this man at 73 years old still running creative for this company? Can somebody answer this question for me? It would be like the chairman of General Motors who worked his way up through the company. He started his career working on the assembly line. Even though he runs the company now, and he's 20 or 30 years older and he's ancient, he's still running the assembly line. Why? If these last few years prove anything, if these television numbers prove anything, step aside for the sake of your own company. Step aside and give somebody else a chance. Stop being so damn selfish and give somebody else a chance. Now I'm all fired up here. Yeah, it's funny. I have people tell me, you got to calm down. It's not that serious. It's entertainment. You shouldn't worry about it. I do. Not a child anymore. Not a child anymore who puts the TV on and watches the fun little wrestling show and turns it off and then goes about my business. You get older. Social media, the internet is what it is. You learn about these things. You go to the news websites. You listen to other podcasts. You hear about what's going on. And it just, if you care enough, you can't not help but be pissed off by some of these things that you hear, because some of these things don't have to be happening. It's not like they don't have the talent and they don't have the bodies. I'm not saying Luke Harper is the crown jewel in the company and is going to be world champion one day. That's not what I'm fucking saying. That's the other argument that I absolutely cannot stand. Why are you getting so upset about Luke Harper? He's a nobody. He's a mid-carder. Who cares? That's exactly the wrong attitude to have when you hear stories about this. Luke Harper's not the only victim of this. You think Luke Harper's the only one who Vince McMahon, he didn't get one bad appearance or something, or something as stupid as he couldn't do an accent, and he blows him off? You know how many other people have probably been affected by this sort of thing? But this is the person who is running the creative end of that company. He can run every end he wants to. He's the chairman. He's the owner. He's a very smart guy. He's a businessman. Let him run all the other aspects of the company. Let him run his football league. He does not have to be the driving creative force anymore in 2019 for this company. And Sami Zayn in his promo, part of his gimmick here is, he said this on Monday night. He said, people tell me that I should just quit WWE if I don't like it. He goes, and that would be great. But he goes, I'm not going to do that because I am going to stay and I'm going to hold all of you fans accountable. Well, you know what? I'll do the same thing. You want to look at it like that? Somebody's got to hold them accountable. Somebody's got to tell these stories. Somebody's got to talk about this stuff. I'll do my part. because it's absolutely insane to think that somebody at his age and his position, running a multi-billion-dollar company, still feels the need to just micromanage and be so involved in every aspect of the company when it comes to creative. I mean, nobody can tell him what to do. It's his company. Nobody can just force him out, I suppose. But for the good of his company, if he really cared and if he really gave a shit, he wouldn't shuffle new writers in and out. He wouldn't just shake up the rosters like a fucking snow globe. He would step aside and let somebody else's creative vision come to the fore. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? If numbers go even lower and things are not working out, you just revert back to the way things were and you take the reins back. But he is so goddamn selfish, he cannot do it. He cannot bring himself to step aside and give somebody, whether it's Triple H or whoever, to step aside and give somebody else a chance because he's selfish and he is crippling his own product. And Luke Harper is just one little example of a much larger problem that's going on in this company right now and is part of the reason why the numbers are going down. The buck stops with one person. Thy name is Vince.